I don't know very many people that make these, but you're absolutely missing out if you don't. Today we're going to show you how to make smoked oxtails. Today we're going to light up our Weber Smoky Mountain with some B&B lump charcoal. This is the oak flavor. And I just want to make sure to get a nice even spread of my lump charcoal. You can see that some chunks here are bigger than the others. That's completely okay. Lump charcoal typically does burn a little bit hotter than briquettes, and it's because of those larger pieces, and that's where you get a little bit of fluctuation in temperature, but today we really want that true Texas flavor. So just like with every Weber Smoky Mountain cook, I'm only opening one vent fully, and then I'm going to put my charcoal starters to light right next to that one open vent. Once they get going, I'm going to surround a little bit with some smaller pieces of lump, and then I'm instantly going to put my barrel right on top. And now I'm going to open the front door. I want there to be some oxygen for that lump charcoal to catch, and as soon as I notice that those fire starters are dying down and I'm getting some white coals, I'll close this right back up. Now that we have our smoker getting up to temp, it's time to get these oxtail ready. So this came in at $6.78 per pound, and you can see that I got this package just at my local grocery store. And you can see that there's a few different shapes and sizes here, but we have the cartilage, and this is the tail of the cow. I'm extremely excited about cooking these today and showing you guys how to do them because they are such a great flavor, and there's so many different ways that you can make these. It's going to be minimal preparation, but I do want to get a little bit of this fat trimmed off. I don't need to take it all off, but I just want to make sure that there's not a huge fat cap on these oxtails. And after trimming, this is the fat that I have left over. You can see that it's not very much. We didn't take any of the meat, but again, I want to make sure that I take a little bit off. The fat is flavor, but I don't want a huge hunk on every single piece. It's been about 10 minutes on our coals, and you can see that those starters completely died out. They're no longer on fire, and we have a nice little bed of coals that are good and white. So I'm going to go ahead and put one piece of mesquite wood right over the fire. I've been using mesquite a lot lately, just kind of testing everything out. And then I'm also going to put another piece of mesquite wood right here in the middle. So I call this my double burst method. You guys have seen me do it before. I'm focusing right here. This is the only vent that's going to remain open during the whole cook. So everything is going to start here at this one vent, and it's just going to shoot out to the middle, and that's where we get that second burst of smoke throughout the whole cook. With this lump charcoal, we're also going to get a really nice oak flavor, so we have oak and mesquite going on today. Now it's time to get our oxtails nice and seasoned up. I've seen a lot of people use binders for these, but we typically don't do that. So I'm going to start with a little bit of our Southern hospitality. I'll put a link right up here in a note card just so you guys can go to our website, try it out. It's a great flavor. It has peppers in there. It does have a little bit of sweetness, and it has a little kick on the back end, but don't be scared. It is definitely not too much. Just so we could get a little bit extra black pepper coming through, we're going to use Chicken Fried Barbecue's Texas Rib Grind. I have tried this before on my hand. I haven't tried it on anything yet, so we're really getting that pepper to come through here, and again, we're bringing out that true Texas flavor. Make sure to use your board, pick up all that seasoning, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Come back over top with a little bit of that Texas Rib Grind, and again, utilize your cutting board. You want to make sure to get the sides. When you take a bite of these, you're going to be eating everything, so you want to make sure those sides have a great flavor as well. If there wasn't enough seasoning on the board, make sure to go ahead and get the sides. The flies are absolutely insane and so disgusting right now. We've been out here for just a few minutes, get everything prepped, and I swear to you, there's probably about 80 flies that were trying to attack these oxtails earlier, but we're not going to let that happen. These are about to get that smoke bath. My daughter just walked by and said that cow tail looks so delicious, right, Piper? Yeah. She said that cow tail looks so delicious. So we have to make sure that we make everything super delicious just for my daughter Piper. That's funny. That makes me laugh. She's never had it before, so that's what's even funnier. Now that we have all of our oxtails nice and seasoned, I just want to wait around 30 minutes or so to make sure all the seasoning adheres to the meat. I've noticed if you put them on right away after this, a lot of the seasoning will come off on the grate, and you don't want that to happen. You want to make sure it stays on that meat. You get that delicious bark forming. That's what Texas barbecue is all about. After about 15 minutes or so, you could see that we're running right at around 216 degrees at grate level on our Weber Smoky Mountain. I'll show you what grate level is here in just a second, but if you look at this thermometer here that's on the Weber Smoky Mountain, it's showing over 300 degrees. So I always recommend getting something like this ThermoWorks Smoke. Not sponsored, we completely purchased this on our own, but I do recommend getting something like this so you can make sure that you know exactly what the temperature is where you're cooking. So what I mean by grate level is we have this little contraption that hooks onto the grate, and then it hooks onto a probe which goes straight to my smoke. You can see that the temps are dropping rapidly. That's because we took the lid off, but this is giving me exactly what it's at on grate level, and that's where we're cooking, so that's the temperature that I'm looking at. We're losing a lot of heat, so let's put these oxtails on, then get to smoking. Oxtails looking nice and delicious. I'm just going to put them right on the grate, right in the middle. A little bit of space there. So now that the oxtails are on, I just want them to smoke for at least an hour before we look at them. These are going to take quite a bit of time to get that nice color on there, and then we'll braise them later. But I do want to give a quick shout out to LES BBQ Sandwiches on TikTok. He's the reason why I've been wanting to make oxtails again so badly. He's got them candy red oxtails. I just love the way he talks. I love that he's got his awesome grill when he bites the oxtails and everything looks so delicious. So if you ever watch this, I'm cooking these because of you today. So it's been about an hour and 15 minutes since we put the oxtails on, and we're going to check them for the very first time together. I'm just looking for a nice color, and hopefully that bark is setting nicely. You can definitely see that the oxtails are getting a great color on them. They're getting nice and rendered. That fat is turning yellow, which is exactly what I want. All I'm going to do now is I'm just going to flip these over. You can get a little bit of smoke on the other side as well, just a nice color, because you can see the pieces that are on the grate here, they do have a little bit darker red mahogany color, whereas the side that's on top and not on the grate looks just a little bit different. So I do want to make sure to just kind of flip these around and make sure to get that nice color all over. I'm not going to focus on spritzing with anything right now. If I was going to spritz, it would just be with water. I prefer to kind of control what I'm spritzing with, and I don't really like to add too many flavors there. So just because I didn't tell you guys earlier, we don't run a water pan. We do have a diffuser plate in there that I got from Gateway Drums, but we're just going to go another hour or so, and then hopefully we'll be at a good time to wrap. At this point, it's been about 2.5 hours on our smoked oxtails. Let's take a look and see if it's time to wrap them up. You can see here that the color is just looking absolutely outrageous on these, and that is exactly what I'm looking for. That bark is nice and set. These are looking really good. You can see that fat is getting nice and yellow, which means to me that I'm getting a good render on it. I do want to make sure that I get these nice and tender, so we are going to wrap these up today. Now we've got a foil pan on the smoker, and I'm going to put 1 yellow onion in. And I've also got some beef bone broth. We're going to just eyeball this, probably put around half of the carton in at least, maybe a little bit more. I just want there to be a good cover on the bottom of this and make sure that all those oxtails are sitting in some of that. Spread everything out just a little bit. We're going to start putting the oxtails in. And boom. Perfect. So I would say that that's just about all of the moisture that I'm going to want in there. We're going to wrap this in foil, and we're just going to let these go until the oxtail is super duper tender. It doesn't matter at this point, really. We can let this get a little bit hotter. We can go 300, 315, not a big deal to us. We just want to make sure that this oxtail gets nice and soft. We're going to check it in a little bit. We will show you temps, but for now, let's just wrap it up and let it roll. It's been about 2 hours since we put the oxtail in the foil pan, and now we just want to make sure that they're nice and tender. It doesn't matter what the temp is. We bumped it up to around 300 on our Weber Smoky Mountain just by opening that bottom vent. Let's go ahead and take a look together and see where we're at in the cook. So we actually ran out of foil at the house, and we were trying to use the half foil sheets here, but that really didn't work out for us. The foil was kind of blowing everywhere. So we just decided to put a quarter sheet on top, and it's pretty much worked out pretty good. You see everything is nice and steamy, but I'm definitely still feeling like this needs to go just a little bit longer. So these larger pieces, oh man, look at that. That looks delicious. So you can see that beef broth just going everywhere. Everything is definitely breaking down and looking really nice, but I'm just going to go ahead and flip these and let them continue to go. So basically, I just want to be able to kind of pull this meat off really, really easily. And like right here on this one, it feels really, really soft. And again, you can kind of see it's getting super duper braised there. There's a lot of liquid going on, so we're just about there. Like this one right here, you can see is definitely breaking down a lot more than the other ones, just because it's a lot smaller. So this one's probably really close to done, but we're just going to go ahead and flip it over and let it continue to cook. And this is going to come apart and just be super duper delicious. So we'll go another hour here and we'll just continue to monitor this. We're just about done with this cook, and these oxtails are going to be off the chain. About an hour later, we're going to check on our oxtails one last time. I have a good feeling they're going to be right there where we need them to be. You can see that everything is nice and steaming off of this little rig that we did here. So I'm just going to probe a few of these oxtails here. And yeah, they're super duper nice and tender. You can see right here there's a bunch of disintegration. So the weird thing about the oxtails is that you actually have this cartilage right here in the middle. And then the bone will actually fan out. It almost kind of looks like a star or something. So you do have to probe in between those bones, but you can just see how nice and tender. And it's just coming right off. I mean, of course, I don't want to do it too much, but we do want these to rest for a little bit. Let's take them off, put them in the Cambro, and we'll be back in about 45 minutes and try them out. So you can see our Cambro has a bunch of stickers here. We have B&B, LC, Chicken Fried Barbecue, Burnt Bean, of course, our stuff, Tuddles, and then this is a nice, cool little brisket sticker. On the side, we have a few more brands, and on this side, we have some more stickers. So I want to openly invite everybody, if you guys want to send us a sticker, we'll put our P.O. box in the description, and we'll add it to our Cambro. We're trying to get this thing nice and full, but let's go ahead and put these oxtails in. And we're going to let these rest exactly like this for at least an hour before we try them. About 5.5 hours later, our oxtails are completely done. They smell delicious from here. If you guys have never had them, it's time to try them. I have a nice piece of my oxtail here, and I just want to show you guys how tender everything is. You can see that meat is just coming right off. It squishes in my fingers with no effort at all. You guys can see that everything in there is just still nice and still extremely moist. Hopefully you guys can see that in the camera. So now I'm just going to go ahead and take a bite. I already know this is going to be so delicious. Incredible. So incredible. It takes no effort. Can you see that? My gosh. It's super hard to stop eating this because I truly think it is that delicious. Think beef rib, but maybe with just a little bit beefier of a flavor. I can't even really explain it. The Southern hospitality, it just so good. That Texas rib grind just gave it that perfect pepper bite. The bark is incredible. Even though we braised them in that liquid with those onions for a few hours, the bark is still there. That's why it's important to let that bark set, just so you make sure that you keep those flavors when you do start that braising process. Honestly, I wouldn't change anything about this. I could eat these exactly the way they are all day, every day. If you guys have tried oxtail, drop a comment down below. How do you cook them? Should I have done something a little bit different, or do you have a trick to make them even better? As always, we really appreciate you guys tuning into this video. Thanks, and we'll see you on the next one.